Hey Keith, how are you?
Hello, Dan. Thank you very much for inviting me on the podcast.
You're welcome. Good to have you here. So, do you want to just do a brief intro of who you are and your background?
Absolutely. So I'm a former civil servant, UK civil servant, worked for the Ministry of Defence, and then went into NATO as a international civil servant. So working most of my time in human resources, various parts of Europe, Norway, Germany, Brussels in NATO headquarters, and finally in Luxembourg, which is where I'm now based. I left NATO after a great career and started my own business, which is career coaching, essentially helping expatriates in particular to settle in, but really anybody, it turns out, in any age group and any background. And so that's what I do, which I love. And I'm obviously open for any questions that you might have on that front.
Great. And I think we were talking about three things that two of them are true and one of them may not be.
Sure. So, which is an interesting way to start a podcast, and I love it. So here's three things. So I sat next to Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin on a plane and helped him when he dropped his newspaper on the floor to pick it up and put it back together. I used to play drums in a punk band, and I'm an underwater scuba diver certified PADI.
Fantastic. And we'll do the grand reveal at the end. So should we leap into then single best piece of advice you've ever had and how it's changed you?
Thank you, Dan. What a great idea for a podcast. So I'm going to go back to my very first time when I started off at work, and I worked for a retired colonel, British colonel. And what he told me was that there are certain people you're going to meet during your career, Keith. And he said there are two particular types. One is a mentor, the type of person who's going to really help you and support you and really be pleased for how successful you are in your career. But they won't last long. They'll disappear. But when you see those people, grab hold of them with both hands because they're like shooting stars. But here's the kicker. He also said, but you're going to meet at least one or two people during your career who, and these are my words now, I call them minotaurs. These are people, they don't have your best interests at heart. They actively conspire against you. You've no reason to know why they do that, but they just take a dislike to you. And you'll probably meet one or two of those people in your life. No matter how hard you try to please them, no matter what you do for them, no matter what it is, it's like throwing steak to a tiger. They want more. And the thing he said, which stuck with me and helped me because I did meet those people during my career so far, he said that when you're in the middle of a difficult situation, always remember that things will change and things will improve. And that was fantastic because when it was a very difficult situation that I might have been in with a boss or something, or extreme pressure at work, working very hard, whatever that was, I always had in the back of my mind, yeah, but this won't last forever. And indeed, whether it's through your own actions that it changes or they move on or something else changes, time will heal, time passes. It's kind of, I suppose it was George Harrison, if you can remember back that, perhaps you don't, but George Harrison said, all things must pass.
That's great. Love that. And thankfully, the ratio of the people that are there to help versus the minotaurs, as you call them, is heavily skewed in the positive favor. That's great. So curious now to find out which of the two are true, or which ones. Is it two that are true or one that's true?
Well, what happened, Dan, is that you sprang this on me just before this podcast. And so I thought I'd spring something on you. They're all true.
Are they?
Yeah.
Interesting. Fantastic. Now, if people want to get into contact with you, what kind of contact would be useful for you, useful for them, and how would they go about doing it?
Absolutely. If you're hesitating, you're not happy in your work, you know that this isn't the right career for you, you're not sure what it is, but Sunday night you're feeling, don't want to go to work tomorrow, get in touch. Let's have a chat. You can find me. My website is keithamoss.com, and I'm happy to have an initial chat with you.
Great. Have a lovely day. Thanks for your help.
Thank you, Dan. Take care now.